baby.
We in here, yeah, we in here, 'cause we been.
Y'all better get comfortable with saying black.
We in here, yeah, we in here, 'cause
Black versus the Board of Education.
Cause we came here, rid of us now. We in here, yeah, we in here, 'cause we came here, rid of us now. And you know that we won't ever go, so you do what you want.
That's why we are indeed a whole mood.
That's it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Black versus the Board of Education. My name is Melissa, and it is very obvious that I am not Miss Lorene. So today, Miss Lorene is feeling under the weather, and while her presence is always felt, today I am going to be taking over the captain's chair. This show, since the beginning in 2021, which actually this is our 5-year anniversary this month of this show.
Hey,
2021, this show has always been about collective leadership, shared truth, and holding down the line when it really matters. And that doesn't stop because one person is resting. We need Miss Lorene well to be able to advocate for the people who can't advocate for themselves. We need her healthy. So today's conversation is about being labeled that parent. And that is one that I know very deeply because in the journey of my educational journey, I know that my mom was more than likely labeled that parent by somebody because she always wanted to make sure I was taken care of and felt safe in all of my educational spaces. So I feel like our team is very well equipped to be able to talk about this conversation and give all of our perspectives. So like I said, my name is Melissa, and I want to welcome everybody and give everybody a chance to introduce themselves. We're going to start in the studio, and then we will jump on to who is joining us virtually. Go ahead, Fox.
how you doing? My name is Mr. Fox. I am A-OK today. Happy Monday, and let's keep trilling. Happy Black History Month, everybody.
Happy Black History Month. Hello, everybody. My name is Mr. Chestang. Happy to be here, ready to get this party started.
Okay, and let's go to Miss Coco. Hi.
Hello, everybody. My name is Coco. I'm the Associate Director of SES and a poet, mentor, educator in the community.
And Miss Patrice.
Peace, everyone. Happy Black Futures Month. My name is Patrice Hill. I'm director of Sacramento Area Youth Speaks, also a poet, an educator, a mother, and somebody that cares deeply about our community.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. And so, like everybody said, happy Black History Month. All my Black people to the front. I am so excited. I do think that it is important to acknowledge that 2026 is the 100th year anniversary of Black history being recognized nationally, but also recognize that we have a lot of work to do. It started out as Negro History Week and has been able to turn into Black History Month. But it is something that, as we know, is very whitewashed. It's not the core of it. The history of it is not talked about. We said this last week. We talked about the same 3 people every year: Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and Rosa Parks. If you have time, there's 29 days in the month. So I feel like, yes, it is really great to be able to talk about that, but also to talk about the things that are not always mentioned. And this podcast actually started, like I said, 5 years ago during Black History Month, talking about what we did not see in our high schools when we were high schoolers, did not see with the talking of Black History Month because it started during COVID and people weren't really talking about it. But just because we had a pandemic didn't mean we stopped being Black. It didn't mean that all of the students who were Black and in school still and having to push through and watch people like George Floyd and Breonna Taylor be killed publicly, having to see that and internalize that and then have to turn on your camera and we're still going to talk about white history during Black History Month and not acknowledge it at all. So I really want to be able to recognize that. And as much as we have done, we still have so much more to go. And so I want to start with acknowledging some Black history facts first. So if anybody has a fact they can bring to the front, but I want to start with talking about intersectionality, which is a term coined by Miss Kimberly Crenshaw, who is a professor at UCLA School of Law, I believe, and a civil rights activist. And she coined the term intersectionality when talking about herself, talking about her experience of being a woman and being Black. And you put that together and you have a whole bunch of different issues now that you are a Black woman in a society that is not centered around women and not centered around Black people. And now you're a Black woman walking around in a society that almost wants nothing to do with you sometimes. And I feel like a lot of people use that term to describe their experiences without recognizing that it came from a Black woman, like many things do. So I feel like that's something I wanted to bring to the front. Fox, I know you have a Black history fact. Do you want to go?
I do, but I would like to use the word I've never heard before. What did you use the word that would you call it? You said
Intersectionality.
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 Well, Fox, can you define that word for me one more time? Please? I love it. I appreciate your knowledge, sister.
Yeah, so intersectionality is talking about the experience you have as one identity and another identity. And then when you put them together, all of those experiences connect and impact each other. So I am a woman, so I have experiences that impact me just because I'm, then I have experiences that impact me just because I am Black. So that would be like sexism, people not liking me because I'm a woman, and then racism, people not liking me because I'm Black. And then you put them together, that is intersectionality. So it's how you walk through the world and the experiences you have as a Black woman. That's how it started.
I like that. Yeah. My Black fact. I was trying to keep it nice, but I always like telling the truth.
Go ahead.
And, one of these truths that was told to me about us, it's disturbing. I don't mean to before I say it, it is what the thing I'm about to say, it is a little bit violent about us, and it's something that we don't like. But yeah, I'm going to talk about the 1985 Philadelphia bomb. On May 13th, 1985, Philadelphia police dropped a bomb in America, on American soil, on American soil, on a row house in Ossage Avenue, inhabited by the Black liberation group MOVE, resulting in a massive fire that killed 11 people, including 5 Black children, and destroyed 61 homes. Ordered to remove members after complaints, police dropped a satchel bomb, later letting the fire burn and destroy the building. Key details of the 1985 MOVE bombing. The incident: Philadelphia police dropped a satchel bomb containing C4 explosives from helicopter onto the MOVE organization's headquarters. One of the things that makes this prolific for me is out of all the ways you could show us how you can deal with us, out of all the ways you could show me that you come in and you love our children and you want to work with us and we're here in the community, a bomb.
Yeah.
No other time bombs are used for war.
For war. Yeah.
And when I hear things like, we're here for you and we got, or what are you guys tripping on? Or I hear things like, it wasn't that bad. And it's not that time no more. This wasn't number 1985. I was born in 82. That's 40 years.
Yeah.
Casualties and destruction. The explosion and subsequent city allowed the fire killed 11 people, 6 adults, 5 children, and destroyed 61 homes, leaving 250 people homeless. You guess what neighborhood that was in. The organization MOVE was a Black liberation eco-racial group founded in the early 1970s by John Africa, known for living communally, opposing technology, and frequently clashing with neighbors and police. Aftermath and investigation, the incident was condemned by commission as unconscionable and grossly negligent. No city officials were criminally charged. Long-term impact. Still, in 2020, the Philadelphia City Council formally apologized for the action. In 2024, it was revealed that human remains of victims were still held by the university.
Wow.
I'm going to leave it there. This is something that can largely be studied by anybody. I didn't want my Black history facts to be something that was all doom and gloom, but I did want to be able to say, yeah, people, sometimes there is a lot of pain that still resonates around it.
Yeah, there is, absolutely.
I don't know where you can see it from.
Yeah.
Passing it along.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. There is a lot of violence that is associated with the destruction of Black success. I mean, we look at the Black Wall Street, and when we have something, they like to take it away from us because they don't want us to be able to. You talked about not wanting to make it doom and gloom and not make it negative, but the moment that we get joy, sometimes it is taken away from us because they don't want us to be able to have that, because with joy and happiness comes power. And that is a threat to some people. Mr.
Sure.
Chastain, do you have a fact?
I do. This was a question for me. Like, where did this Black History Month stem from? Right. So I did a little homework and it came up with Carter G. Woodson, who is known as the father of Black history for his pioneering work in African American history, founding the Association for Study of African American Life and History, and establishing Black History Month, dedicated to showcasing Black achievements and correcting the historical record. He was a Harvard-educated historian who tirelessly worked to bring African American history into mainstream education and scholarships. His key contributions were a pioneering historian. He opened the field for African American history to scholarly. I don't know what that word. SCHOLARLY. Help me out, Melissa. There we go. Study recognizing his vital role in American history. He was the founder of the ASALH. He established the Association of the Study of African American Life and History to promote research and publication on Black life and history. He was the creator of the Black History Month. In 1926, he launched Negro History Week, which evolved into nationally recognized Black History Month, celebrated every February, encouraging schools and communities to focus on Black history. And he was author and educator. He authored numerous books, including The Negro in Our History, and served as a professor and dean at Howard University, influencing generations of scholars like John Hope Franklin and Zora Neale Hurston.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's one of the reasons we're here today, to be able to, discuss Black history, and that is where it stemmed from. Thank you so much. Ms. Coco, Ms. Patrice, do you guys have any? It can be Black history facts. It can be a person you want to bring to the front. Y'all are also a part of Black history too, in helping Black young people be able to speak up. So I think you guys would have something to contribute as well. And either one of you can start, Ms. Patrice.
Yeah, like you were saying, Black history is now. We're living, breathing. It's not something that's behind us. It's not something that's only a month. It's happening 365 days a year, from the rooter to the tutor, from the sun up to the sunset, from dusk to dawn. We are living, walking, breathing Black history. Like you said, I can go through all the ancestors, I can go through all the authors, I can go through everything, but there would be no America if you didn't have Black people. We are history. It ain't even just Black history. We are history. And that's my fact. You got to wake up every day knowing that you are Black history, put your best foot forward, and keep on moving and making moments, because it's happening right now. It's our story, and that's us.
Right.
I love being Black.
Thank you. I love being Black too. Absolutely. Ms. Patrice.
Now, I ain't about to highlight nobody after that, but no, I think one of the beautiful things about loving the skin you're in and being Black every day is this is not just a month for us. It's a lifestyle. We focus on what it means to wake up in Black skin every morning and embrace that. Like, I'm happy I'm Black. I am thankful I'm Black. I give the ultimate thanks for being Black. I am so happy that my ancestors chose me to continue to walk in this skin and walk in this brightness and walk in this light. It's not a month for us. It's a lifestyle. Everything I do is centered in my Blackness as a Black person in America, whose ancestors helped build this country. We keep getting talked out of the conversation, and we cannot talk about America without talking about Black people, and our culture, and our music, and our style, and our inventions, and our everything gets used and abused in this country and globally. And the influence of Black people is not just limited to the US. Black folks have a global influence around the world. So Black History Month is every day. It's a way of life. And I just want to piggyback on something you said earlier, Melissa, about intersectionality, right? And the ways that our identities like overlap, right? Like, I'm a woman, I'm Black, I'm from poverty. My struggle is intersected in so many different realms of this country. So yeah, so happy Black History Month, but we Black every day, 365 all the time, up, down. We honor our ancestors, we love our children, and we gonna rep being Black all day, every day.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah. And I appreciate you bringing all of those things together to conclude. I want to talk about the fact that, we are Black 24/7, and that comes with a lot of different things. And another fact I want to bring up is that talking about how parents were very central to the civil rights movement, which I feel like is something we don't always talk about. We see like the individual people like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Septima Clark. All of these were people who were considered very important in the civil rights movement, but who had families too, who had children that they had to go home to at the end of the day. There were also children who were at the front of a lot of this change. We had like Ruby Bridges and Little Rock Nine were children with parents who had to help advocate for themselves too. And so today we're talking about the important role that parents play in children's lives and the role that school has in that relationship as well. And so again, today's conversation is about being labeled that parent. And so I want to know, what do you guys think being labeled that parent means? Because it can mean a plethora of things. So what do you think it means, or how have you seen it be used and weaponized? And can we go to Ms. Coco first?
Well, I've been that parent a couple of times throughout my son's career. I have been that parent, that one that's going to come there, make sure things is okay. I'm going to advocate for him, his friends, student around him. I remember when he was on the Luther Burbank football team and just really having to step up and be the team mom, because I noticed them babies wasn't getting food and sandwiches and things that they needed. I think it's okay to be that parent. If that's what they want to label you, if that's what it is, then it's okay, because you have to advocate for your students and make sure they get through, especially if your student is Black in these K through 12 systems. Even in college, I find myself advocating for him as he navigate higher education. So I think it's okay to be that parent. I've been deemed that parent a couple of times in my parenting life, and I'll continue to show up and be that parent.
Absolutely. Fox.
Me?
Yeah.
You know how my energy rock, man. Every time I hear about that parent, I find out that's my partner. That's all I know. That's that parent. They go my ally in the room. Because if you became that parent, that means that you made some noise. Now, only thing I need to figure out is how we can use the noise that you made, and how me and you can partner with your noise, and how I can make sure that you understand I'm not your enemy. I'm your ally. I found out that you that parent around here. I respect that. And what's been going on? Let me hear it from your perspective. And okay, they've been playing you like that. I guess we them parents then. We here. You know what I mean? I love that parent, because when I'm standing next to that parent, whoever across the table over there on that side know, yeah, we here. We here because that parent right here made it apparent that we here. And sometimes it is a little chaotic. I'm not going to say that it's not. But again, somebody triggered that parent before that parent became that. It's my job to center you in. Let's focus and let's utilize this and not allow them to weaponize that parent.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. You said something about the noise and like a parent making noise about their child, and that is kind of what creates that parent stereotype, or that is assigned to a parent. So another question is, do you believe that parents can behave badly in school spaces? And if so, what does that actually look like? Is a parent ever doing too much? Can they, I don't want to say rightfully earn that parent, but do you think a parent can do too much? And what does that look like if so, Mr. Chastain?
Ooh, what does that look like? So I can't really speak and say that a parent does too much, because we don't know what is really going on in those schools with their child, right? Mm-hmm. So I can't say that that's too much or not, because I've never been a mama. So I don't understand what it's like for a mama to to raise a child and to have that child acting up in school and doing whatever they're doing. Now, I have seen it from the aspect of where the teachers are in the school and they're doing extra stuff that ain't got no business doing with the curriculum or with the children in itself. But I can't say that there is a doing too much with a parent, because I don't know where they're at and what they're going through with their life and that child and what's going on in school. I know these schools are really not handling their business with these children. They are scared of these children and they're pushing them away from whatever is going on. So I think that I can't say that there is a doing too much. I can't say that because I'm gonna go in for mine too.
Absolutely understandable. Miss Patrice.
Whew. Woo-sa. Because I've been that parent and I'm still that parent. And I know that there's benefits with being that parent, but your child will also get targeted when you're that parent. And I've had to navigate primarily like Black school districts, like charter schools. And then I've had to like navigate predominantly white institutions, PWIs within this city that for my child. Now I will say, as you start putting multiple children through the school district, you start realizing, like, let me take a step back. You don't get no handbook on how to advocate for your child in school. Right. And so you have to learn that. You have to learn what your child needs, but you also get to, when you have a child in school, you get to understand more deeply the disadvantages, the disparities, some of the atrocities, and some of the things that your child is experiencing firsthand that you know is relevant to like the way schools are built and operated. So I've been that parent, and I do appreciate the fact that administrators or teachers know, don't play with my child, because I'm gonna put it in writing. I'm gonna have all the meetings. I'll take it up the chain. I will advocate for other children, and don't play with me or my child, because for my children, I'm gonna go hard. And especially as a single mother, I've felt like I've had to be both. I gotta be the mama and the daddy, and we gonna sit down with whoever needs to be sat down with. But I also know I've experienced firsthand being that parent, and my child had to go through extra things where like she got an 88.4 and they won't give her the A because it's a point percentage off. And I know if I wasn't that parent, but it's okay. You know, we'll take a B if we have to. But it's okay to be that parent. Be that parent, because the other thing is they need more of those parents, because these schools are getting away with too much. They done got away with treating our children like they're not brilliant, bright beings that deserve love, respect, and upliftment. We know that they look at Black boys as gladiators. We know that they think all Black girls have attitudes. No, they trying to navigate white supremacy on a daily basis in your institutions. Not trying to be long-winded here, but be that parent. I know it's hard and you gotta do extra work. But our children need us to be that parent, because too many of us aren't showing up. Too many of us aren't calling these schools out. Too many of us are not getting the resources our children deserve, because we don't want to be up there talking to them people. But we got to talk to them people, y'all. We gotta be up in their offices and demanding that our children not acting a fool, speaking respectfully, writing emails, getting us the support and assistance we need. We don't need to be up there acting a fool, but we can be very stern in demanding about what it is we need.
Absolutely. And I thank you for bringing in the student perspective too, of how sometimes being that parent can put a target on the student's back. I know y'all saw my mom in the chat. Yes, that my mom was that parent when I was in school. My mom was that parent, and she's still that parent now. I have a sister who's in high school. She still will come up to the school if something needs to go down. And I really appreciate that. but also it does put a target on the student's back. And that kind of touched on the next question, which I was going to ask, which is, when does advocacy turn into harm for the child, or put a target on the child's back? But I have experienced that too. I had my mom come in. They were trying to get us to change our BSU's name. They're like, oh, you can't say Black Student Union because if you're welcoming everybody, you can't say Black, whatever. The lady would not leave me alone about it. And so I said, okay, can we have a meeting after school? Sure. She thought it was just going to be us at the meeting. No, we all brought our moms into the meeting, and she dropped it after that. So being able to bring in your parent, you really need to be that parent to help advocate for your children, because I don't think I would have been bullied out of it. But like we always talk about, there's a power difference and a power dynamic. Right. And I'm a student who is under this principal or administrator, and they control everything. I don't have the power as a 15-year-old against someone who is in this role. So I really appreciate you bringing in the student perspective as well. And go ahead, Fox.
What you just said you got to run that back. You said, because it was so much powerful in what you said. Man, as a student, I'm only 15. I only have so much power about going up against who I'm going. That is why we are advocating. Because and you said, when is it that advocacy takes a turn for the bad? To me, advocacy turns a turn for the bad is when me as an advocate, I'm trying to put in my own wants or needs of what I believe is good for this child versus what's better for him. And the second part of advocacy that turns bad is the fact that you're speaking on the very nature of that. I'm allowed to speak on this child's behalf. The people we going up against. How dare you? How dare you speak against what I'm speaking against? Because one of the things that I notice on the floorboard of the very nature of advocacy when we're on the floor is that we're not advocating for the kids' rights. I'm advocating against your opinion of a policy that I know is a fact. Last time I went to the school board meeting, it showed on the thing when IEPs and 504s were created. They're actually 20 years old. These are things that are been posted. Like, I'm going in here and we're speaking because you're pitting your opinion to what a fact is. And the fact that I'm sitting here advocating, the gross part of it comes out is because of you're really pushing back this hard to let a child not have something, they have something coming. That's how somebody becomes that parent. And then for me, one of the main attributes I notice allows somebody to become that parent is because of the confusion that parent wants to understand. Here's a child I've been raising all my life. And he's been doing bad and he's been doing good. And you call my phone whenever you want about him. But now here it is. I want to come up to the school and see about this same child that I enrolled this child into, the same school that I gave you my number to, the same school that I gave you my email to, the same school that calls my house. But now in order for me to get to this school just to see my child, you need 24 to 48 hour notice for you to straighten up your act about a situation that's going wrong with my child in this school. I can understand how that parent becomes, oh, you want to play with me. And then henceforth it becomes a war thing, because in the parent's mind there's a non-understanding of what are you actually doing with my child. And since you can't communicate it to me and I have to make all these different things, the parent doesn't become, let me for the sisters up, for Coco and Patrice, you beautiful sisters, not everybody understands the strength to be like, okay, let me get the educated part of it. Right. They go, what? My child? And now I'm that parent, when in reality, you could have just gave them some understanding. They could have talked to him. They could have realized this person is here talking for a baby. This person ain't even here talking for themselves. You know what I mean? To me, that's when advocacy goes bad. The people on the other side of the table are continue to put their opinions and change policies that have already been written. We only want you to follow a policy that you said was going to be cool for us. We came, we did all this, and I digest from there.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I add on? Can I add on one thing, Melissa?
Yeah.
And just the point of being that parent, I realized that in advocating for my child, I would. It's hard because I'm wearing a parent hat and an educator hat, right? Because as an educator, a community educator, director says, a poet, a community member, I'm going to advocate for children anyway, right? But also in advocating as a parent for my daughter, I'm indirectly advocating for her friends and people that are around her, right? Because they're seeing me step up and come to the school. So now when I'm just coming to the school, her friends are coming to me and telling me, what they need help with or what they might need some advocating for. And that builds trust, not only with the young people, but also other parents. Because now I got other parents calling me like, I heard you helped your daughter with this, and can you help me? And I'm like, yeah. And many hands make light work, and sometimes it's hard, like being in every space. But one of the things I also see is, there might be something at the school, and now students trust you, and you're getting more information, you're getting more buy-in. Real quick, I'm gonna tell this story during COVID. On the transition back to school from COVID, I was helping out a lot at one of my daughter's schools. And sometimes them kids was in there not doing what they were supposed to do, like not keeping things clean. And, we coming right off of COVID, so we got to be extra, So one day I'm in there just helping, and I walk in the room, and these kids, they had a sub, they was playing, they was getting over. But I had them stop immediately and do what they needed to do in that classroom. But every time I would come into school, I would hear them down the hall like, Aaliyah's mom is here. Aaliyah's mom is coming. So they would like get their act together real quick. But that is being that parent. They know that they can't play in front of you either. Like there's a different type of respect that the students are going to give you, because they know like you that parent, and not only are you going to be on the school, but I'm not going to be acting up in front of you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you for that too. And again, bringing in like go ahead.
So let me get in real quick. Miss Patrice said something, right? That was powerful. Is that she's speaking to the kids. She's Anaya's mom. Or forgive me if I spoke your daughter's name wrong, but
Aaliyah.
That's Aaliyah's mom, and she's coming up in here not playing no games, right? And those other girls that are around Aaliyah is understanding and establishing that trust as well. But we're having this miss is that it's just her. It's not a multitude of parents that are coming together as a collective and saying, hey, this is what's going on with my kid. This is what's going on with my kid. This is what's going on with my kid. We need to go up in there and tap in with these people and let these people know that we are here. And here's another part of the advocating that we are failing at, right? Is that we're not pushing past that first desk at administration. We're not going past that desk. We're not taking it up the chain of command or custody, whichever one you want to call it. We're not pushing that, right? And that's because we don't really know which way to go. But the thing is that while we're utilizing that, if we're able to go in and talk as a collective with these parents, then they're going to start hearing exactly what needs to be, what needs to go on, what needs to be said, or what needs to be done about my child, your child, Coco's child, right? They're gonna get it together because it is a collective. It's not just one parent going in there and being that parent. It's all those parents coming in here and pushing it up further. We used to have a thing in prison where we had a paper system called a 128 and a 602 to file our grievances, right? To file the things. And you'd be surprised how many people were not able to put their name on that paper and submit that, nor go to the next level, the third level, and push it up to the chain, which is court. There's a lot of people that have been done wrong and not knowing what to do. So as a collective, if we are coming together, right, with Patrice has the established trust of this young lady, and these parents are starting to sit together and actually converse about it, and we go in there, it's going to be a little something. It's going to be a little different, right? It would be a little different, but that's where I see a problem is that we're not having a multitude of parents go in there and follow that chain of command or even push it further. It's nope, we're not doing that. Nope, we can't do that. Nope, get up out of here, because now you're that parent. And we take it as, well, shit, I'm that parent. I'm trying to hold up, see if I got to chill a little bit or if I can push a little further, or where am I at? And we don't know where that medium is, where that happy medium is, to where we can achieve what it is that we're wanting and gain what we're needing for our children. I think that's a serious issue, is that we don't know which way to go, be able to push our thing forward.
I only want to add one thing to what you're saying, because we have found one solution for that. That's what Miss Patrice and Miss Coco be talking about, and Miss Lorraine be the school board meeting. So we have the collective now. We understand now that exactly right where you're at. Nothing against anything you said. I am right exactly where you at. But to pop the pimple of right where you're at, our pimple popper right there is we have the collective. We know what we need to say. What we need is more parents to come down to us with these school board meetings.
Exactly.
Because that's where the actual action is at. And what we have found and discovered when we was in those meetings, and anybody could correct me if I'm wrong, but I know this to be fact. What we found out in those meetings is they work for us. We don't work for them.
For sure.
We actually have the power, and our voices as a collective in that room. We got the papers in there to file. They have to listen. What we have to do is start not just encouraging. The encouragement is there. We're here. I'm here. Patrice is there.
Absolutely.
Melissa there. You're here. BYLP here. Isaiah here. We saying, hey, come to these school board meetings. The encouragement there. The pimple popper is the action. When are y'all gonna come to these school board meetings with us? Do we need to give you guys the dates? Where are we failing at with our community to where we, as BYLP, as SAYS, as Melissa, how are we not letting you guys know the actual dates of what these school board meetings at? We have a voice in there, and that voice is powerful. And we've been going in there. We need more. Because we all have the same issues. None of our issues are like separate, and they all connect. Like you said, even if I just go and I speak for your son, and you go and you speak for my son, you actually speaking your son and my son issue. You speaking her daughter issue. That's where those things come in at.
Correct.
Anybody else correct me if I'm wrong? If I'm in the wrong area of where to tell the people to go at.
No,
No.
you're right.
No, you're in the
and you're right.
you're in the correct
I
area, Fox. You're exactly in the correct area.
That's where we corrected that.
Nobody's showing up. Nobody's showing up to these things. So we're just talk. We're just here.
Some are. We need more
For sure.
because I don't want. And the reason why I'm picking and choosing my words of it, because I want to be very apologetic to anybody who's offended. We is not saying that you ain't with us. This is Black History Month. Y'all. What we is saying is there's a rhyme and a reason. We have found a way. Can we stay on the path of the way that has been successful for us educationally wise, and we have been getting benefits from if we show up to these meetings? This ain't about stopping our cords or none of that. We saying that this happens, and if Fox ain't saying it the right way, Patrice, Coco, Melissa,
say it.
We teammates. And one thing I do know about evolution and Black History Month and how we came, all of us that you see right here on the screen, from Melissa to the Chastain to the Irvin to my hot behind the scene guys, Isaiah to the Loreens to the Coco to the, we all came to the table together, not because we met each other over hamburgers. We've been together. Right. I seen you doing the work. You seen me. I seen you when you was tired. I seen you when you had to bring your daughter along and told her to get in the back seat and keep going. Melissa went to a whole nother state, and she's still continuing in with the. That's how we came, and we trying to meet more people in the field like that as well. Happy Black History Month, y'all. We here fighting for y'all.
Go ahead, Miss Coco. I know you wanted to say something.
No, I was just saying Fox was right? We got to rally up, come together, get to these school board meetings. And it might be, Fox, like you're getting those dates out there more, pushing them. You know, sometimes people don't know. Sometimes they're in inconvenient times. But yeah, I'm with you, Fox, just showing up as a unit. But like Patrice and like Patrice was saying, though, when they see one parent do it, then usually parents start to come along. When I was that first parent that stepped up for the football team, I had a host of moms coming along after that, kicking in, you know, was like what we need. You know, they just needed one mom to demonstrate or one mom to show them how to advocate. And once we did that, all the moms was coming in, all them ladies was making sandwiches, and we started rotating. They didn't even know that these things were happening. So once you get that one mom, there is a lot of moms that, you know, step up once they see or they feel like they got somebody that's a leader and helping them navigate, then they will step up. Because I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen with Patrice. It happened with me. Shout out to all the moms that have been a part of my community, and we've been pushing together to get our sons, our daughters through. And, you know, so sometimes they just need to see that one mom. They need to see that parent. And also, too, I do want to distinguish, it's two different type of that parents. You know what I'm saying? You could be that parent coming, advocating, you know, being respectful, doing it however you need to do it. Then you also could be that parent that's coming and being ignorant, coming up there, wanting to fight everybody, acting a fool, ready to fight kids. You got your bonnet on, ladies. Bonnets are for in the house. You know what I'm saying? Get you a hair wrap or something like that. We got, you ain't got to come with the bonnet. I don't care how cute it is. You feel me? They got hair wraps for outside. And then you got that parent. So make sure you being that parent like us, that parent that's advocating, that parent that's coming up there speaking, that parent that's studying, that parent that's reaching out to different organizations if you don't know how to do it. Don't be that parent that's making us look bad as a community. And you got people like me in the office trying to control you and you ready to fight, because I'll take my earrings off too, though, sis. You feel me? But so it's two different type of that parents. We want them good that parents out there.
Absolutely. And thank you for naming that too, because there absolutely are. And we've talked about the positive, that parent, but what about the parents who, like you said, don't show up to the school board meetings they know about them, don't come to the parent teacher conferences, who don't really show the interest in their students' lives? And what if that reflects onto the student and then they bring those issues
school till it's time to fight? You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Don't show up till it's time to fight. Don't come to after school meetings. Don't come to none of that. No school board. But if somebody call you like your baby into a fight, you got the whole hood up there. Like, come on, mom.
Exactly.
Come on now. So yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, and thank you for naming that. And so do y'all believe that some parents expect schools to undo harm that actually originates to things that happen in the home? Well, we've talked about that parent who will only come up to the school if there's like you said, Ms. Coco, to fight. But what about the other parts of that? So do y'all believe that some parents actually expect the school to undo the harm that they might have even caused outside of school? Go ahead, Ms. Patrice.
Avoidance.
That's just denial and avoidance.
Blame.
We can't expect these schools to save our children. We have to be our children's first teachers. If the child is coming to school to get harm undone from the home, we're in trouble. You're in trouble. You're sending them to the wrong place, because the schools aren't brightening our children's lights. They're trying to extinguish it. So our homes have to be sanctuaries, and they're not. Well, I'm not a perfect parent. I have not done it all right. There's no handbook, it's no manual. We're learning by experience. We have generational patterns and traumas we trying to navigate and break through. We have to be cognizant of what we're helping our children break or gain, and we're not doing it all right. We got tons of problems, you know what I mean, in the Black community. We're just not all peaches and cream. We navigating patterns and addictions and traumas and abuses, and there's things that our children are going through. But a lot of times our children are seeing the things that they're not supposed to see, and then they come into school and that's their safe place. And we have to be very, very cognizant of how we're raising our children. We got to always be better parents and better human beings. And it's not easy being a parent. I know that there's so many things that I can continue to learn and grow on, and things that I've done that I shouldn't been done. And I know that one parent that Coco was talking about it, unfortunately, I see that parent more than I see the parent that is advocating, more than I see the parent that is coming to after school or the open house, back to school night, school board meetings. I ain't been to a school board meeting at all this year, and I know BYLP probably got a dozen under their belt. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not, and I know, you know what I mean? I know that it's not easy. Y'all be up there and telling them folks about themselves and what they do work for us, but you would think that it's the other way around. But I forgot my whole point, y'all. But I know that we got to learn to be better parents, and we can't depend on the schools to undo the harm that is caused at home, because they're not gonna do that. That it's miseducation. We have to relearn better ways better ways to raise our children, to ways to be better parents. I'm all for the new concepts of the new concepts. I real quick, y'all. I was reading this article that Vegas is gonna die because Gen Z doesn't believe in partying and smoking and drinking and blacking out. That's good. That means that there is a different way that y'all are about to do things, and y'all are gonna be different parents, and y'all are gonna be different. Y'all are gonna approach things differently, right? We're learning how to be better people, a better parents, better humans, and so we always got to learn how to erase trauma and break patterns, especially when it comes to our children. We don't want to set them up for failure before they already get to the schoolhouse, because then they doomed.
Yeah, and I just seen a comment that said when the school is a safer place than the house, then that's harm. And that's unfortunate, but there's a lot of that going on. There's a lot of that going on where the school is a safer place than somebody's house. And I was just thinking that too. It takes a village. The school is a part of the village, but they also need morals. They also need standards. They also need structures and things that come out the house. You can't have a kid that's disrespecting you, disrespecting everybody, and thinking they're going to come to school and learn respect. Respect is something that should have been taught when they was 1, 2 coming out the womb. You know what I'm saying? You don't even get to school until you 5. So 1 through 5, that means there's some morals and some kids go to daycare and preschool, mind you not, you feel me? But there's some morals and standards there that should have came with the kid. But it's unfortunate we are living in the times where school is safer for some kids than it is at home. And that is something that we got to start talking about. And I think that's where the parenting classes could come in, different type of things like that. But you cannot send your kid to school expecting them to get something that you didn't give them through them 1 through 5 adolescent years at home.
I got a question for you though. Did you see what happened when she was talking, when Miss Patrice was talking? And it was just a thought that dawned on me. She said, I lost my train of thought. Now, for me, as I see what happens in these rooms is, these are passionate situations, very passionate situations that happen under political grounds. So even an educated person like Miss Patrice, you can ask her a question and she can lose her train of thought, even myself, because of the passion that's behind it. So here it is, a parent be in these meetings, these 504 meetings, these IEP meetings, extension to suspension meetings, all these meetings, and there's facts that are on the floor, but a parent will lose their train of thought. And what we need as a village is for the school grounds to understand passion is on the floor. Sometimes we need 5-minute break. Sometimes we need to understand, yes, this is what's going on. I done lost my train of thought. You didn't just told me that somebody touched something and there's somebody has a picture somewhere or something, and I'm just like, wait, hold on, what? And now the parent then went down a rabbit hole of passion because they know there's a moral way they've raised their child. And just food for thought. I've seen this on the TV. Has nothing to do with this conversation, but it does. It's because we talk about the village theory. We always say it takes a villlich to raise a child. What if that village is
retarded?
Some slow, some retarded. what type of child we gonna get about that village if we got over?
What if the village is retarded?
I don't want to say derogatory words. That's why I'm not gonna say that. But we got to do better with some of the villages we picking these child from and realize, hey, we took this child about this village. You know that village. That's the Wooty Woo brothers. That's where that child came from. Them. He came from. We gotta culturally be understanding that.
That's a great proverbs, though, that we got to take with us. It's unfortunate that the village is not as like it used to be. It's unfortunate that Miss something down the street can't correct the kid. It's unfortunate that we broke the village as a community. But the quote stands, the proverb stands, nothing changes. It takes a village. You need grandma, you need church, you need school, you need uncle down the street. Hell, you need the gangsters and all them too. That's why I call myself a hood scholar, because if it wasn't for the things that I learned in the hood, I wouldn't have been able to navigate higher education. It's unfortunate, but I learned from hoes. I learned from drug dealers. I learned from killers. I learned from them type of people that helped me navigate this world that I'm dealing in now. So yes, the village needs some helping. The village needs some molding. The village needs some healing, some love. But it takes a village, because your child, unfortunately, if you like it or not, we are a product of our environment. So if you can't move your child out of an environment, they're going to become a product of that environment. You see kids all the time that say, I came out of a good household. Mom, dad, I have money and everything, and I still chose the streets because I'm a product of my environment. So you can't take the kid out of that. Now, we do need to heal the village, but it takes a village. The Proverbs is going to stand no matter what's happening in the village.
Absolutely. I love that. Talking about healing the village. I love that too. And I feel like two things can be true at once. Parents or a village can show up in ways that are not helpful, and also the systems that, such as the school system that we're putting ourselves and our children in, still also have a responsibility to respond without causing more harm. And sometimes we're seeing that too, harm is being caused at home, and then you go to school and there's more harm being caused as well. And I feel like that's something that absolutely needs to be addressed. And it's hard to address it when there's harm happening in the only two spaces that you have.
Right.
And this is something that I brought up a couple of weeks ago about that I've talked about in class and wrote an essay about the lack of third spaces that we have in the world. Like, says would act as a third space, being able to go and express yourself outside of school, outside of home. We don't have those spaces as students to go to. It's at somebody's house where you don't know their environment. It's at a mall where there's armed security because they don't want they don't want teenagers in the malls anymore. Like, there's a lack of third spaces. So when the only two spaces you have are causing you harm, we wonder why children turn out to be a certain way and then reprimand them. And then there's a whole bunch of consequences for the children. And then sometimes when you have that parent who can either be the person who advocates or the person who's upset that something's happening to their parent, we also get mad at the parents too. And sometimes it's justified and sometimes it's not. So it's really hard when every space that you're in feels like it's causing you harm. Right. And so my question is, if schools only know how to respond to conflict, whether it's a parent that they don't appreciate coming up to the school or a student inside of the school, but if we want to specifically, we can talk about parents. If a school only knows how to respond to conflict with control, are they equipped to actually help the children?
I would say
one more time, baby. Let me catch it. You said if schools only
know how to respond to conflict with control, are they actually equipped?
Okay.
And then we can go to Mr. Chastain. What do you think?
You got to repeat that. I got allergies. I'm messed up all over the place right now.
Okay. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one.
It's okay. I'll give y'all a second.
Let me start off.
Okay.
I'm going to say this. I would say that the answer to me is no, because control is different cultures have different forms of what they believe control is. Sometimes people believe you have to be quiet just to have control, and some people can have control at an octave at this loud, and they just like, hey, this is what control is, and da 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 da. So going for the control sometimes without knowing the actual person or the situation that person is coming from, you should have some context. Really, what they should have. That's why I think they brought in the word cultural relevance. I think that's what that was meant for. And when you said that question, I had a question. I thought to myself, how long does it take a girl to get over a heartbreak? And not being funny or anything like that, but that question, the reason why I thought that question to myself was, us as a culture are very young to healing. If it takes a girl that long to get over a heartbreak, or a boy this long to get over, how long have we taken to get over what has been done to us? So we all constantly hear that word healing, and I think us as a room, as what you just pointed out, Melissa, continue to go in the rooms where we're continue to being hurt over and over and over, when I'm already hurt before I got in the room and I didn't even get over this. As a culture, we haven't even had enough time to healing to be. But that's my answer to your question.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And I'm going to repeat it, and then I'm going to go to Mr. Chastain really quick, and then I'll come to you, Coco. If schools only know how to respond to conflict with control, are they actually equipped to run?
No. And because it's like he was saying, there's different levels of the control, right? But the aspect is what they're not knowing, or what they're doing is really not being in tune with that child, giving that child that insight and understanding to where they have the foresight to say, nah, I ain't finna do that. I'm finna behave because of this. What may happen is just the right thing to do. And they're not doing that. They're only doing the punitive aspect of things. When we go into schools and they're just throwing kids out because they were raising their hand too long, or not raising their hand and got up to go use the bathroom after they raised their hand. Now they're in trouble. They're getting called home. the parents are getting called home and all this other stuff. So the control that they're utilizing is not it. We're not giving our children the insight to give them the decisions on why they do what they do or to not do what they do. They're not giving them that.
Absolutely.
Melissa, before you move on, before this is over, we have a service announcement here. Black Youth Leadership Project. We have a free grocery program in partnership with Shelby's Way. We are having fresh and healthy produce. We have scheduled pickup. Support our community. Sign up now. We are. If you're struggling with food, if there's something that we can do to help, we are running our food program. We don't have much, but what we are doing is getting people to sign up so that we can pass them out. We are certified food handlers. Mr. Fox himself is certified. So your food is clean, it's touched, and we're just doing our part to help the community. Thank you very much. If I didn't explain it right, please go to our websites at bylp.org and check out the information yourself, or you can check out us at any one of the sisters or the people that you see on the screen right now that can give you the good information of what we are doing to get engaged and help our people. Happy Black History Month, everybody. Melissa, back to you.
Thank you, Fox. I appreciate it. Yes, that is an amazing resource to check out. Thank you so much. We have about 5 minutes left, so I want to ask one last question and make sure everybody has a chance to answer. What would it look like if schools and parents both owned their missteps honestly? Because we talked about both sides of that parent, the parent who was coming to advocate and the parent who was coming to fight, who was not coming with the right intentions sometimes. So what would it look like if schools and parents both owned their missteps honestly? What, in a perfect world, which we may never see, what would that look like? And I wanted to go to Ms. Coco first.
I was sitting with that one, baby. I was sitting. If we both owned our missteps, I think we would have a great schooling environment, right? Yeah. If we both owned and took accountability for the harm that we did to our children, or we both owned and took accountability for the harm we did to the parents, or so vice versa, I think then we'll be operating in a perfect school, in a perfect world. But the hardest thing is for people to be accountable. Don't nobody want to be accountable for their own mishaps. Sometimes I done worked hard to start becoming accountable for mine. That's really something that's hard for people to do. But if we both can be accountable and hold ourselves accountable to just make sure these babies be well-heeled youth, then we will have the type of schooling we want, right? And I'm gonna pass it.
Absolutely. Ms. Patrice.
I think if parents and schools could own our mishaps on both sides, and we would move from a place of like educational survival to educational freedom. Mm-hmm. And we would really hold a place that really centers on like joy and justice. Coco and I are going to school right now, and we really been, school deals a lot in theory versus practice. And one of my presentations was on like Dr. Bettina Love. Y'all seen her at the Equity Summit, right? And how we move from educational survival to educational freedom. And survival is reliant on like compliance, test scores, discipline control, like telling students they got to be resilient or they got to beat the odds. Whereas educational freedom is really centered in like joy, creativity, it's culturally relevant and affirming, it's truth telling, and it's centered on collective liberation. And I think we could get there if we both owned it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Mr. Fox or Mr. Chastain, do y'all have any last words before we close out?
I would just like to say, man, for this to be Black History Month, to be able to be serving amongst my brothers at Black Youth Leadership Project, the communities that we serve as a whole, everybody that we've been able to work with, it's been a blessing. And to be up here to be with the sisters, man, Miss Patrice, Miss Coco, Miss Melissa, ain't no such thing as Black History Month without including the sisters. Everybody know, man. And if they didn't know, let me be the first brother to say it. Ain't no such thing as life forming on this earth without the sisters. You know what I mean? So without including y'all up in this, man, it ain't no such thing as Black History Month. And that goes to all of y'all as sisters. Y'all know how I feel. I'm not gonna say nothing, but I'm always ready to make sure it's seen at the forefront with the sisters and not nobody else before the sisters. And I don't want to say anything else to make anybody feel disrespected, but it is our month, so why should I feel that way? Happy Black History Month to all y'all.
Thank you. Happy Black History Month. I appreciate it so much. Thank you all for tuning in to today's episode of Black versus Board of Education.
And our host, Melissa.
Big it up for the youth. The youth is the truth. The youth is the truth. I like to say the youth is the truth.
Thank you guys so much. Next week, we are talking about suspension isn't support, discipline that fails students. So make sure you tune in 4:30 Pacific Standard Time to see next episode. We are wishing Miss Lorraine well, hoping that she gets better by next week. And if not, I'll be your host again. But we are really hoping that she will be better by next week.
Man,
you get better. I said we got a lot of people behind the scenes that's sick, but they still showing up for this work, y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw her in the comments, so thank you all so much for tuning in. We're gonna hit you
up. Everybody in the comments.
And we're gonna close out. Thank y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Peace.
All right, y'all.
Black and present.